That's what I do.
Good morning. Mom, I forgot something.
Right, well, figure it out, you grab tax votes, guess what?
Oh.
Hi there,
Hey,
where were you this
thanks.
morning? Huh? Where were you?
Were you at the 6:30 class?
No, I was at the 5:30
Then you don't
class.
know if I was there.
I went at 5:30.
Oh, that's too early.
Tammy loves you. She said she was worried about you and then learned a little bit about you and, oh, she's fine, I don't need to worry about her.
Yeah, I made a more.
Okay,
I
cool.
just realized you texted me yesterday, I never answered that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
That's
really sorry about
really,
that.
it's okay.
Yeah, I know, but.
Nice
Thank you.
Well,
Oh, we're really thinking that. I had to remember. I know we had to throw in an extra chair. Your crackers. The room was not set up when I read.
Heavy.
These are moving around. Hey, it's morning. Oh, no, it's morning lunch. I didn't see that, so put in.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Kathy looks like you guys have cooties or something.
I know.
Never
We do.
Well, it kind of looks that way over here too.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
it is Tim.
Tim.
It is Tim.
Yeah. Yeah, she just.
He just attracts.
Well, it's 8:30, do we have a quorum?
We do.
Why don't we get started?
Okay. Tim Matt.
Here.
Matt Bagheera,
Here.
Jody Eubank,
Here.
Amy Gillard should be on her way. Nikki Law.
Here.
Cora Smith. Here. Rocky Baydoun. Rachel Morford.
Here.
Sarah Eschelbrenner.
Here.
Ella Ruddy.
Here.
So we do have a quorum.
All right, well, let's approve the minutes from last time for those that had a chance to review them. Any changes?
One.
Forgot to introduce Sarah.
Okay, we can go out of order.
Well, we're approving the minutes at the moment, Mrs. Brightner.
You can go out of order.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Great, thanks. The minutes approved. So we have a new person on there. I'd like to introduce Sarah. Welcome to the meeting. I appreciate it. I enjoy additional thoughts behind our lovely DDA meeting to try to help the city.
Is she our first ever second
I think Rocky
generation?
was trying to connect on Zoom, you can't get
I
in.
just saw that email come through. Second generation.
What was that,
Yeah,
Kathy?
second generation. Her dad was on the original DDA.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. Do you have any kids for the third generation?
Yes, she does.
Awesome. Perfect.
Text them and tell them to follow the link on the agenda. There shouldn't be anything keeping him from coming on. I have a waiting.
Okay, so we'll get him on there, but in the meantime, is there any public comment? Thank you, public, for attending. Promotions committee. Let's talk about promotions.
Okay. The promotions committee met and got started discussing Ice Fest for 2023. It is already here. It will be second weekend in February 10th and 11th. I think the committee made a lot of progress as far as what they would like to see come back. Some of the larger things, like the larger demonstrations of dueling chainsaws and the chili cook-off, do more with the ice park, the ice park and fire pits and s'mores. And then sleigh rides and some of the things that we haven't. I don't know if anybody else wants to, maybe you want to talk about anything, other things that we.
What did we talk about Friday night bringing?
Well, Amy had mentioned possibly a Friday night collaboration with the Book Fest. And she
Yes.
can touch a little bit more on that. We talked about going back to doing some of the Friday night kickoff that Jody used to do at the pier that we haven't done in the last couple of years. We talked a lot about the chili cook-off and bringing that back. We've reached out to who had done the wagon rides for before COVID, and it looks like they are possibly available. So she's gonna get back with me today or tomorrow. We reached out to Tapo Nexus to do something for kids and incorporate that business in Harbor. So we started making a list of restaurants to reach out to for chili cook-off.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys, it wasn't a scavenger hunt last year?
Yes, it was
It was.
through No Way Out.
Okay.
And we decided that there were too many hiccups with that.
Yeah, and I remember the sign up and all the stuff. It was a
Yeah,
little
so I think
But I mean, we
we're
could,
gonna reach out to Molly at Tapo Nexus and see what kind of,
What they can.
it would be really, I mean, I like the scavenger hunt idea. I think it's really fun. I think it'd be really cool. I mean, I know that we'd be willing to do some sort of sponsorship for it.
Well, and
Like
that-
through downtown business, if it like leads people through our business, like,
Yeah, and
we'd
we
be happy to
talked
do
to-
something like that.
We talked to Molly about seeing, because she's put together some really amazing like clue hunts for kids through Tapo Nexus to learn about downtown Harbor Springs.
Oh, yeah,
so to see if she'd be willing to do that. So I sent her an email on Monday after the meeting, and I'm just waiting to hear back from her as well.
Okay.
So,
And if she is, we will.
yeah, I mean, we've done the scavenger hunts
Yeah.
before COVID happened with Ice Fest. So that's something that we can definitely set up again, but hopefully they'll want to do something, so that would be really cool.
I'm sure they will.
I think a couple of things that we learned that we focused on in the committee meeting were that we needed more signage for this year's Ice Fest. Also, we needed a set schedule that was done intentionally last year with, as far as with COVID protocols and things like that still in place. But we will have a set schedule and a map for locations and demonstrations and things like that. So I think those were the three key points that we really hit on of things that we wanted to improve upon.
Yeah, and just kind of taking it back from everybody who remembers what Ice Fest was before COVID hit, taking it back to that last year that we had Ice Fest before COVID happened. So making the park super interactive, which I think that was probably the biggest success of last year's Ice Fest, was how nice that park was. So trying to build on that.
And more signage for the larger.
Large carvings.
The larger carvings.
Amy, do you want to expand on that Festival of the Book on Friday?
We have a program called One Bay, One Book, which is a community reads program where we encourage everyone to read the same book. This year, it happens to be a book called The Last Winter from a gentleman by the name of Porter Fox, who has been a previous presenter with us. So it works in with winter timeframe. And we have not been able to do this in person for the last 2 years because of COVID. So we're hoping that we would be able to do something with the author in town. We don't have a date set. If there's a way that we can work with him to do it the same weekend, that would be great. So it's just another enhancement and a different enhancement to the weekend. We'll be doing the program no matter what, and we're hoping to have that confirmed within the next month in terms of the actual date. But we're going to pitch to him specifically Ice Fest weekend.
I mean, I think that sounds like a great idea. I know with promotions, I mean, you guys talked about promotions, but any way we can do collaboration between the different items in town, that I think it just elevates everything. And the Festival of Book has become it started out as actually such a great program, but it's exciting to see where that program's gone. So to be part of that, and if we can weave that into Ice Fest, I think it'd be a great win-win situation.
Yep.
Well, and we talked about bringing the s'more station back. It was the very end thing. We used to have at Pearson's, but bringing that back and doing what we did before with a Meet Your DDA. So having volunteers from our board so people will know who we are and be able to talk to us, and for the people that don't know everybody on the board and such. So I think that would be a good
Yeah.
option as well.
Everybody loves a good s'more.
Absolutely.
And the chili kickoff, I know Matt's raised his hand saying that, you know, he'd like to see that come back. I
We
think that,
definitely want to bring that back for sure.
I think
we
that's
can
a
this year.
great idea. And did you also volunteer your kitchen if it's an amateur they want?
We're not gonna do
No, we're not.
We talked about that in promotions committee, that it still seemed.
We've had one amateur in 4 years.
4 years, yeah. So
Okay.
I think I think there's enough restaurants in the area that I think we're banking on getting between 10 and 15, if not more, that we'll be able to do. So it'll be a really nice size event.
Great. I'll default to you guys then. Well, great. Thanks for all the work on Ice Fest. That's awesome. It's another great event that continues to grow.
Oh, let me add one, and
Yeah.
as we start to just determine where things are gonna be, I think we probably should include Rachel in,
Yes, we did talk about that
Yep.
as well.
yeah.
To
Just in the pl-
collaborate
in the-
with the
in the
Parks and
planning
Recs
of it.
department as well in this. So we'll reach out as soon as we start getting some finalized things with that as
We're gonna
well.
need you to show us.
That's really.
We have a much better plan in place this year.
CrossFit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Rachel, if you're, you know, able and willing, that would be wonderful to cross-contaminate Parks and Recs with that festival.
Nice, nice.
Okay, so moving on.
All right. As you know, the National Honor Society has been maintaining and weeding and caring for the flowers on Main Street all of the summer into September. The president of the National Honor Society has reached out to me and has volunteers ready to remove the flowers this weekend on Sunday, October 16th. I think it's around 11 o'clock that he's requested. So if any of you are available to help volunteer that day, it comes out, you know, with the kids there, they come out really fast, much faster than putting the flowers in.
Perhaps you need to oversee that.
Maybe we should prepare the
That's
beds.
the point. That is the time where you can prepare the beds.
Okay, perfect. All right, so that's the Main Street tree beds. What was that date again?
Sunday, October 16th.
Thanks. And then moving on to the Merchants Walkway update.
Okay, so I've been working with the city attorney, and he's pulled all of the deeds and easements for the area and the adjacent area, and we had another meeting with our committee, and you know, started talking again about some more ideas and things like that, you know, things that I'll have then. After talking with Jim Raymer, he really recommended that a new survey be done of the walkway and then be recorded. So I've been going back and forth with both him and Benchmark Engineering, and we are pretty sure that we have a good final survey at this point. You know, the city attorney has had to review all of them and make sure that everything's corresponds with the easements that are there. And then once that is recorded, I'll be able to bring the survey back to the committee. In the meantime, we are still planning a meeting for next week to keep the committee going well, just so as we plan for ideas and concepts and still having people, even if the survey hasn't been recorded at that point. It takes a little while for that to be recorded. So, but the committee will meet and keep coming up with ideas, keep working. Again, as I said, we have on the committee, we have John Leo, a city council member. We have 3 DDA members. We have a resident there, as well as a business owner, property owner, also adjacent. So we've, you know, it's a good mix, and hopefully everybody, you know, is able to have their voice heard and keep working on that plan. Once we develop the plan and get some ideas, and there are ideas that are coming through in that committee, we go back to Vanessa Warren, the landscape architect, and she can hopefully put those into a practical working plan.
Perfect, great. Moving right along to the TIF and development plans.
Okay, so on Monday, October 3rd, the public hearing was held for all of the taxing authorities and the public for the TIF amendment number 2, to have that heard. We had a very large crowd that came out to hear of the details of the TIF amendment, and also the development plan amendment. There was very little public comment, and it looked like we had pretty positive response as far as the public and city council to both plans. I'm going to pull those up now. We did have to make a couple per attorney language changes. So this is what we have. So first I'll go through the development plan. So as we said, this is development plan amendment number 2. It is merely amending the second amendment to the original 2015 development plan. The first, that all of that is being based on the original base year of 2014. I think all of you now have gotten this. Includes all of the necessary language, the past performances of the DDA over the last particularly 5 years, because that was amendment number 1. And then moving on to the actual things within the development plan. The Merchants Walkway, streetscape project, sidewalk maintenance, lighting, recreation, parking support, public restrooms, bike path enhancements to the downtown, along with cost estimates for these projects that are estimated out for 15 years. And because that is the amended length, it will go out another 15 years. No changes to zoning. The overall cost, as I stated in the public hearing, for the enhancements is $1,377,500 over 15 years. Those are for the development projects, more of the infrastructure actual projects that we have proposed, along with non-development projects, which are $415,000, including things like walking tours, maybe assist in downtown, some of the resources that we want to offer to businesses, grants, things like that, bringing it to a total of $1,792,500. And that's pretty much it. I think you guys have all had lots of opportunities to look over the development plan and get familiar. Does anyone have any questions? I mean, I think that the TIF committee worked really hard to come up with a great development plan of what some of the things that we really want to address over the next 15 years.
No, I think you've been really good at getting us all of the information step by step. So yeah, I think it looks very good.
Then we move into the TIF plan amendment number 2. Again, it's an amendment of the existing tax increment financing plan with the base year of 2014 and running now. The second amendment will take it to 2038. Again, all of this was gone over in the public hearing, and you've gotten this. The TIF plan includes all the language that we need for the state to do our funding through a tax increment capture. And I think you all are pretty aware of what a tax increment financing capture is and how it works, taking the increased value from that base year of 2014 and then the millage rate from just that capture alone, and just within the downtown central business district. Again, the original value in 2014 of those properties was $31,795,595, and we are now up to, I think the plan, the 2022 taxable value. It also includes the development plan, which is required by law to do that. And then the the 2022 taxable value is now at $42,218,696. So in that time span since 2014, there's been almost a $10.5 million increase in the central business district in taxable value. But that is it as far as the TIF plan and where we capture from and who we capture. Currently, we only capture from the city, the cemetery, and North Central Michigan College. Again, it would be about an additional $50,000 in capture from the county if we choose to pursue that.
And so for that, to give us an update, currently, after we get done with this will go to council to get approved or not approved. If it gets approved, then you and Victor are talking about going to the county and asking them, saying, hey, by the way, this is approved and this is what we are expecting. At that time, this committee has to make a decision whether or not we go farther and try to partner with them and try to capture the money that the AG has told us was legally what they have to give us to go towards Harbor Spring. So we have to decide whether we want to do that or not. I'm hoping they want to work with us, and that would be great. I know recently there's been some comments from some county commissioners that said they don't want to. They've said no 100 times and they continue to say no. So that's a bridge that we are going to have to cross. And but the first step is getting this to the council and seeing if it even gets passed at our council. And hopefully it does, and then we can go forward with that. Any questions about that?
I'd just like to add that Margot went through the entire development plan at city council last week. But if anybody's questioning the 15-year plan, Margot has checked with all of our bordering DDAs, and we're either on the low end of it or we're just right where all of the other DDAs are at 15 years. Some go 20 and some go 30 years. So if anybody questions that it's a longer term of 15 years, we're actually on the low end or right exactly where everyone else is.
And the caveat to not doing a longer plan is that Margot and the committee have spent hours trying to put that plan together rather than working on something that we can do for the city. So it takes time away from this board to try to do something. So we'd like to do it and then be able to work towards what the city needs rather than trying to redo the plan again.
And things can change.
Right.
Council has to approve the budget every year. The DDA could make changes.
That's a very
If
good
you
point.
decide we don't need a DDA anymore, it's not something set in stone. It's a very flexible situation.
Right. Each year, the DDA proposes the new plan, not the new plan, but the new project to the council to see if they agree and want to move forward with those.
And the annual budget.
And the annual budget's approved by the council. The last year, 2 years, I think we've been doing a really good job of going to the council and going to the city and seeing projects that coexist with each other so we can move the needle in the same direction. All right, any other questions on the TIF plan?
Any questions? Okay, so now
We need an approval to,
let me pull up the resolutions. Okay, so we're gonna
Can you
go.
make public comment first?
Yes.
Sure.
So with the DDA and my understanding with the certification for the redevelopment community, DDA plays an integral part of that. Jody, you're on the RRC, John, Leo also, Margot. And so knowing where we are on getting that certification, where are we? And what part of that you need to have done from the DDA to get to the certification? Do you have any idea about that?
So that's coming on number
Yes, that's-
9.
Okay, so because before we go forward and approving this plan that you have, I don't see anything in here about the RRC and the integral part that it plays going forward in the next 15 years. And so if we are going for the certification for the town,
it's two separate entities.
Yeah, we're not,
Well, but
we're going there to just listen, and then Jody's supposed to report to this committee what the RRC talks about.
But part of the things that we have to complete for the RRC, you guys need to do in the DDA. And
That
so,
was not brought to my attention.
well, if you read the RRC and some of the things that we have to check off, you have to have some development, of course, which we're doing for the DDA. That's why it makes sense to bridge it, okay? But I think that what is missing for me is that we are not, we're keeping we're keeping some of these things silo when actually they're interacting for the city to get certified for the RRC. And I just want to make sure that I understand what you guys are doing to help get the certification for the RRC. And that should be put in the information out there to the public.
I
I
mean,
think, Rachel, do you want to, I think for the most part with the RRC, there are things that are required by all different parts of the city. And I don't know, and it's not even usually, I'd say that there are, and they're fluid things, it's not all specifically the same, or, you can pick a focus on a green space or something like that. So I do think a lot of times they are in conjunction. We are meeting those things just through the different development that we're doing.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So instead of it going in the DDA development plan, it would be in that baseline report. So
Okay.
as we go further, sorry. So as we go further and further and further, that baseline report that we had put out previously when we started gets updated.
So is that baseline up report on our website, Harbor Springs website? To know
Off the
where
top of my
we,
head,
to
but I
know,
can send it to
to
you.
know, well, I would like to see it on the website, to know where we are and
Yeah.
then where we are.
And it
going.
doesn't get updated every month,
Because I
but
looked at other towns that are certified, they had their baseline put on their website, their city website, and so people could see exactly how this is progressing. Because when you go to the DDA and the development, the DDA is you're gonna have a really important role because you're gonna have to update whatever business, economic development that we want to do and put out there to the world, and so if you look at this information that's provided on the Michigan plan, it is this is just Harbor Springs, and it is probably 6 pages. So it gives you every detailed information. So I do think the DDA, what your role is gonna play going forward is really integral, and you guys should be bridging that information forward.
well, that's on number 9, the RRC, they're gonna have an update. Jody goes to those. The RRC has never come to this board and saying, hey, we need to do something. If we do, I'd be happy to talk about that. As
I
far
would like
as-
to meet with you personally and show you, but what I've seen, what other cities are doing, so maybe you might want to implement it since you're leading this.
Well,
Because it
and
would be really-
Rachel Sleminski, who was our DDA director before Margot, was the one who first originally
Yeah.
brought the RRC, and she's brought the RRC to the city of Alpena, and I've spoken with Rachel in depth regarding the benefit of the RRC to Alpena and the grant money that she's been able to be able to get with that. So with the RRC, when she had brought this to our attention, when she was on our board and what needed to happen,
Yeah.
our TIF plan was something somewhat separate from
I understand.
that. So that's what we're trying to do right now is pass that for our funding.
And we're going to a situation where we're gonna be bridging all this because. this
Yes,
is a
which I
certification board
understand.
city.
Yeah.
And if I look at other cities, how they're communicating this out to the public,
Mhm.
I think that we can do a much nicer job. Again, Tim, I would love to meet with you. And
We
Matt,
can-
I would like to meet with you as well on this.
We can definitely meet about it, and
Okay,
I say, I don't know,
I'll take it off.
Jody would want to
Okay.
be there
And-
because Jody's been our representative at the RRC, so she's been at those meetings. So it's great information, and I want to definitely try to make sure there's not silos. I'd like to see us work in conjunction with what the city wants and where we're going for that.
I agree, and this is what, maybe it's, I'll listen to the RRC's next section, but, I just think that the baseline should be put onto the city website to understand where we started and where we are currently.
And that would be
That's
the
a
RRC,
that's a
if they
separate
want to do it, they can. I can't tell them to do
I'm
that,
making
but
a
I'm glad you
suggestion
brought it up. And
Because the DDA will play a huge role in our economic development about what businesses we bring in, what grants we're bringing in, and so you all should really understand how that is going to go forward.
But only in the CBD.
Yep.
Not the rest of the city.
Well, but it impacts the city.
It does, of course.
Right, there's
But we
He
no-
does,
can't
but
do
only-
anything outside of the
The
CBD.
RRC is the whole of the city of Harbor
When I
Springs.
go
The
and Google-
DDA is part of the
And
CBD.
this is why I would love to show Tim, when I go to another city that is certified, when it comes down to looking at a business, they will show what the business looks like, what the area development, how much money they need for that development. And it is an integral part for our business section of our community.
And I think that's a great way that the DDA can help assist in that. I mean, I think that the DDA has that role to be a liaison between
You're gonna
businesses
be
and
uploading all this information.
and city staff and city as they're working on those things. So yes, they will be able to help with businesses and help with business get the information needed and necessary and also bridge some of that gap. I think that is a role. And as Rachel and Victor pursue the RRC, I think they will come to us and give us their needs as what sort of information do you need specifically from the central business district. And we would be, obviously very amenable to.
Right, I think it'd be
And-
great, but I don't think the meeting should just be you and me,
Yeah,
because I don't
I
have
would
the
just like
knowledge,
to meet
maybe
with,
Rachel and Jody.
I would just like to
I
talk
don't
with you
know.
guys to kind of show information and how it's gonna play going forward.
It'd be great, we welcome all information and be able to compare and contrast that, but we need to have other people besides just me, because I'm not educated enough on the RRC.
And that's why I would just like to bring this information forward.
There's also a different way, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, that RRC can move forward. When you look at the requirements, they may have 10 suggestions and 4 of them might be, am I correct? Might be what do you want to concentrate on as far as a city goes?
Well, we have a baseline scorecard and it tells you all the different areas that we are striving in and where we need to improve. And so those are the areas that I just want to understand what the DDA needs to implement to improve so we can meet these certifications.
Great, so maybe we can pull a meeting
And I-
together with the people that,
And again, as Jody just said, and as Rachel said, I mean, those are fluid because those are changing. They're not specifically, it is a list and we can choose, what those things are pursuing. So at this point, we may not know.
Right, and it says, that we're supposed to be really communicate this out to the community, but I see that we have a vacant residential spot that hasn't been filled. Based on, if you're looking at the RRC, I know this is not the RRC committee, but it's supposed to be an outwardly communicated.
Well, that I would take up and see if the
So again, Matt, I
RRC
would love to
committee
meet with
needs a
you.
resident.
I would like to meet Tim, I would like to meet individually and one.
I don't think we should meet individually, we need to meet together so we can put more brains in and on the same thing. Because you're gonna tell me one thing, which could be completely true, but maybe there's a piece of information that you don't
I'm
have.
just gonna send you the information, so you guys can submit what you feel needs to go forward for this committee. This committee is gonna play an integral part with that certification.
Great, so Margot, if you can get some people together, that'd be great.
Rachel, if I
And we
could,
need to go through our resolution really quick so we can get the meeting back on track.
I think that residential spot has been filled. We just haven't made the announcement.
I believe so, yeah.
Great, all right, so let's move it on.
Okay, so the resolution, I will read the resolution and then, for the development plan amendment to the 2015 downtown development plan, the Harbor Springs whereas the Harbor Springs downtown development plan amendment number 2 contains the information required by section. I think you guys can read it, but anyways, we read the development plan, we've reviewed it, and the plan is to carry out the public improvement investment detail in amendment number 2 to the 2015 development plan. Whereas the Downtown Development Authority has reviewed the amendment number 2 to the 2015 Downtown Development Plan, so we need a motion.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept the resolution to approve the amendment number 2 to the downtown development plan.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I'm gonna need that by a roll
I'm gonna do roll call.
Amy Gillard,
Yes.
Nikki Law,
Yes.
Tim Knapp,
Yes.
Jody Eubank,
Yes.
Yes.
Laura Smith, sorry. I
So yours is staring
looking at you like, what's your name? Rachel Morford.
Yes.
Sarah Ashelbrenner. Sorry, Ella, you don't get a vote. And Dan Rivera.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, that moves us into the resolution on to approve the tax incremental financing plan. Following resolution is the purpose of amendment number 2 to the 2015 of the Harbor Springs Tax Increment Financing Plan. The 2015 TIF plan is to produce revenues sufficient to carry out the public improvement and investment detailed in amendment number 2 to the 2015 development plan. Whereas amendment number 2 to the 2015 TIF plan as amended includes amendment number 2 to the development plan and detailed explanation of the tax increment procedure, any maximum amount of bonded indebtedness to be incurred, the duration of the program, the impact of tax increment financing on the assessed values of all taxing jurisdictions in which the development area is located, and a statement of the portion of the captured assessed value to be used by the DDA. And whereas the Downtown Development Authority has reviewed amendment number 2 to the 2015 TIF plan and amendment number 2 to the 2015 Downtown Development Plan. Hereby resolved that the Harbor Springs City Downtown. So I need a motion on that, please.
I'll motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Amy Gillis.
Yes.
Mickey Law.
Yes.
Tim Knapp.
Yes.
Jody Eubank.
Yes.
Cora Smith.
Yes.
Rachel Morford.
Yes.
Sarah Ashelbrenner. And Matt McGarrett.
Yes.
Passes. All right. Moving on. Okay, which now moves us into the special assessment. Now that we have approved both the TIF plan and the development plan, and that we will be presenting those to City Council at the October 17th meeting, Council will then vote to approve both the, or not approve, the amendments to the TIF, amendment number 2 to the TIF plan and amendment number 2 to the development plan. At that point, we are going to request that sorry. Anyways, we are going to request that the city create based on the things in our development plan, a special project of which we would like to have funded through the special a renewal of the special assessment. Those projects will be based on the projects that we have picked in the development plan. And then we are making our request to City Council for the downtown project and for the special assessment to be renewed. And then Victor, the City Council will ask Victor to create a report on that, and then we will have a public hearing on November 7th to then approve that request. So
This is a continuation of what the
this is
current one
the
is.
continuation of the current special assessment, which is $1 a day, $365 to the non-residential property owners within the central business district. It can only be on commercial property owners, and it is $365 for the year, and that's not changing. No, there may have been other people heard otherwise, and at this point, that can be amended at some point. That if in the future, a few years down, some want to amend that, that's a possibility, but it's not happening at this point.
And how long does this go?
We are putting it, and that's something to be determined from Victor's report through council, and I think the recommendation is going to be 10 years on that.
Was the last one?
5. Okay. It coincided with the same 2018 to 2022.
Okay.
So, that's the plan on that. Do you have any questions as far as?
Did I hear you say the money from the special assessment is earmarked to just certain projects?
It can be, it can be specific projects, or it could be the project of being all of the, what is included in the development plan. So it kind of depends on how that's structured.
Great.
It cannot be used for salaries.
It can't be used for
Operating.
outside of our project plan.
Right.
So what are next steps?
So that's the next step. So we make the request. So we need to make a motion to make the request to city council for that. And then we take it on next week, once the development plan and the DDA has been approved, and the TIF plan amendment have all been approved, then we will ask city council for that
Great.
request, and they will then ask Victor to do a report on that. So we need,
I move that we make a special assessment request to city council for the special assessment project.
I'll second that.
I just let you do the roll call rather than do
Amy Gillard,
Yes.
Nikki Law,
Yes.
Tim Knapp,
yes.
Jody Eubank,
Yes.
Cora Smith,
Yes.
Rachel Morford, yes, Sarah Ashel Brenner.
Yes.
And Viera.
Yes.
All right, I had this special seven.
Great, moving on to the RRC update.
I can't sit, sorry. Oh, okay, that's fine. I thought you were leaving. No, I just can't sit. That's okay. As far as I know, the RRC meeting was canceled for this Friday, and there hasn't been a meeting since our last.
Correct.
So, don't really have an update at this point.
I know Victor and I are working on the website update, so we had talked about the last time. Organizing it a little more efficiently with documents and pulling old documents that are years and years old that don't need to be on there anymore. 'Cause some people are doing searches, like it's bringing up things from 2 years ago, things like that. So it doesn't really.
But some of that stuff isn't important though, even if it's 2 years ago, it's a baseline.
Some of it's not accurate, so Colin, some of the fees, some of the stuff, yes, we legally have to keep on there from years ago, but some of like the fee pages, things like that. Because we upload PDFs to update fees as an example, we don't necessarily take down that old fee page, so when people are doing searches. It
They
gets a little
don't know which
confusing.
fee it is.
Can I make a suggestion when you do make changes or you make a change to a document, to put a date when that change has taken so people know the latest of that change that did happen? I know there are some updates that are happening across the board on all documents. It just might be a great way to help organize what you guys are trying to do.
In the documents I've seen at the lower right-hand corner, it's updated.
It's updated. Okay.
I know some of them show that, sometimes I believe on like the actual website, when we update a page, it'll also say when the page was updated, and that can get kind of confusing as well, because people think, well, that whole page has been updated, and that's not necessarily true, so.
That's it.
Awesome, so you're just trying to get organized and whatnot. This Friday is not a meeting.
Yes, it's Friday, there's not a meeting, don't quote me, but I think Victor has a meeting at the same time, and Jeff will be out of the office, so.
And then if Margot pulls a meeting to try to collaborate between the DDA and you, you'd be willing to attend that
Yeah,
meeting?
of course,
Perfect, thank you.
I can send you the baseline report too, so you all can be
That would be awesome.
aware.
Can you copy Maggie?
We both see online, I don't have a problem.
Okay, so, perfect. All right. Director's update.
Just very briefly, Ella and I met, and we talked about continuing with the social media communications part for the student representative role, and she's gonna be taking pictures and making sure that we have pictures, and that the business directory, we have all the right pictures and the right businesses now on the website, and also doing pictures and some Facebook posts and Instagram posts, so she's gonna talk to him. We're
Perfect, so
excited for her to do that.
on the student representative, so this is your second year, correct? So it's great that she's here the second year, you've done great for the first year, I appreciate that. But going forward, and we can partner with the city though, but I was talking to the principal, and there's a lot of people that, I know sometimes there's somebody on the zoning committee. I think last year there was a student on that. So I think we can do a better job at coordinating what student positions are out there. And then having the teachers, or having the principal somehow get that to the school system so they know. I mean, how did you find out about this position?
It was like our world history class and Victor came in and was like, hey, this is available, and I was interested in it.
Perfect. So thank you for showing your interest. I just want to make sure we get that information out to the other students because it's a great thing for you to learn. It's a great partnering with the younger people as they move up in the world. And then I also think that it promotes collaboration with the school systems as well with the city. And I think that's a positive thing. So I did kind of float that by Lee, and she thought it'd be a great idea. So I don't know how, if we could, maybe you and I can talk about it offline about trying to figure out what the positions are. And I mean, Victor doesn't have to go there each time, as I know he's busy as well, but we could probably help with that.
Also, I feel like all of like the juniors and the seniors have to have an English, and not everyone has to have a world history. So I feel like not everyone was made aware of like all these positions. So I feel like if we had like some informative like slideshow or something that we like showed in like an English class or something,
Right.
then it's not just like people who have a history credit, it's like everyone.
Right.
It's a great idea.
It's a very
That's
good
a really
idea.
good idea. Just having them out there, they know and they apply, then the selection process, we probably should talk about that because I
We could
think.
also work on putting just a list of on the city website,
Right.
just of different options for student representatives.
Because it's also a good
I'm not sure
resume
if that was
pattern.
posted or not, the student representative, I know.
I haven't explored enough to see if it's on
It
there.
might have been a blog post, but I can't.
Okay.
And I can speak to other,
Yeah.
That
and
might be something
then the
really,
applications came in.
that might be something really good to maybe collaborate instead of with a teacher per se, but maybe with the school counselor who would have access to
Yeah.
all of the juniors and seniors instead of, like she said, instead of just the history teacher, maybe reach out to Shelby and.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We could even send Shelby a 1 or 2 slides and show them and say, hey, by the way,
If you
here's the
have kids that are
deadline.
interested.
Because I know the Harbor Petoskey Foundation, they have specific deadlines you have to apply prior
It's
to.
a great idea.
Well, and I
So-
think one thing to think about is they did the application in the fall, which maybe that needs to be moved to the spring. So that it's, for the intent of the following fall, when students are graduating and things like that. because-
Very good point.
Yeah.
So I think that would be great.
Okay, and then the final thing is financial update. Not gonna be much difference. As you know, we've started bringing in the tax roll. We really haven't changed. So far, currently the TIF has brought in year to date 61,000, almost 62,000. Another 21,000 in the special assessment. It's still being brought in again. And then so our current with the fund balance has stayed the same. Current revenue is at $107,000. The only thing that's really changed so far since last month is wages and supplies and some of the contractual services that we've had to do with the city attorney. So
Do we have a wayfinding fees when we update?
we have not done any, we do, but it's probably been merged into downtown projects right now. Sometimes with the accounting numbers, the way they fall. But basically, we are still, our net at this point, year to date is $22,170, and that fund balance, so we're still getting in tax roll, all of that.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Other business, old business? The only thing I can say when I'm driving around town, there's a couple of those wayfinding signs that are getting really rusty down at the bottom, so I don't know if I I know it's horrible that they already are getting rusty, but there's a couple of them that from here down, it's brown.
Some of them started that way.
Yeah.
I mean, within a few, very
Few
short.
weeks, so.
Yeah.
So my point is, we should start looking into the maintenance of the spray painting them, and whether that be, we let Cora go down there with a white spray paint can, or
Hey, I just like to chip a bunch of rust off of some stuff at work, so. I'm good
I
at doing
just
that.
joking.
The rest of the book is in now.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
You're not gonna fight Mother Nature, I tell you.
Right.
Trying to keep up with the white is gonna be tough.
Yeah. So I mean, we can talk about that offline as well, but figure out a way we can bring those back up to where they should be.
I would recommend not using Cyclicity for maintenance, if we can see if DPW can do it or something like that, because Cyclicity is very expensive.
I would love to ask the DPW if they have time to do it. If not, I don't mind going down there and sanding and spray painting either. I mean, I really don't.
No, I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tim, not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Just go do the third
Okay.
street crew.
We'll get a Third Street revitalization.
Yeah, I can help with that.
Yeah.
I'm good at do-it-yourself projects, especially spray paint.
Holy
Real
cow,
good.
you guys talking
I'm not so
about-
good at the spray painting part, but.
I'm real good.
I kind of straight.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the only thing I had. Anybody other business or old business? And
Any comment?
yes,
I think as we sit around this room, it just occurred to me today that as I'm looking around, we have Bonnie's the chamber director, we have Kathy, who is the chair in the past, we have Rachel, we have John Leo, we have the mayor. I think we have a very cooperative and meshing group, not only just at this meeting, but council meetings, meeting last night. And I'm just thrilled with the way that the city works with the chamber, works with the RRC, works with all of those committees and commissions that that are lots of time out of people's busy lives, but they've chosen to volunteer to do this, and it makes me feel real proud to be part of that, for sure, for certain.
thanks for
So thank
saying
you
that.
all.
And there's always room for improvement. Like Maggie said, if we can somehow get the documents she wants or whatnot, or figure out together. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but I think you're right. There's a good point that we all care about this city. We want to do the right thing for the city and move the city to keep it the beautiful place it is. So thanks for saying something.
Well, I mean, we're all about being transparent, but I'm not exactly sure that emailing just one specific person that wants to see this, that we would just rather say, Rachel, can you put the baseline on the website and we'll call it a day. If it's there, it's there. I mean, all the information's out there. We talked about this in the last 4 meetings I've been in. The transparency is there. I think as Nancy said during the chamber forum, or the candidate forum the other night, you can find all the information. Nobody's gonna go door to door and hand this information to people. I think that's my last comment on that.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, well, thank you, everybody, for coming, and we can adjourn.